Let's go. That's how you get it done, man. Was it perfect? No. Did you get plays when you needed them? Yes. Did you play your best basketball game? Not necessarily. But it doesn't matter. Did you score more points than they did? Did Evan Mobley, I don't want to say had the second most important block in Cavs history. We all know what the most important one was. All right, people jumped on Twitter saying that might be the second most important block in Cavs history. It's an opening round 4-5 matchup. Okay, let's just say I opened the door for there to be a bigger block to go over Evan Mobley, but that block was so impressive. It had to be on one of the Wagner brothers. Yeah, it had to happen. You had Darius Garland show up. Little concerned about Donovan Mitchell. I'm not going to lie. There are moments in that game where I go, is he limping? What's going on here? The Cavs persevered. They persevered. You saw the changes they had to make. They did not have Jared Allen last night. The overcoming of what the Cavs had to do to get a win last night and will their way to being a game away from advancing. I was impressed. I was happy with that effort. Doesn't mean there's still things we can't clean up. There's a lot of things to talk about with that game last night, but I told you we were waking up with a win. We did that. We're feeling good. Cavs are one win away from advancing. Just do it. You got 2 games to win 1 against the Orlando Magic. That's where we sit this morning. Hell of a game from the Wine and Gold last night. Lots to talk about with that. We've got updates on the stadium coming out of Columbus with the Browns down there last week, speaking to the contingent, if you will, the legislatures, the elected officials. You ever been elected to anything, right? Student body, anything like that? Student president?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
I was elected the general manager at Baldwin Wallace, WBWC. Shout out to them. Miss those days, man. I was the 63rd general manager.
I kind of elected myself to be the fantasy football commissioner. Does
okay,
that count?
I guess.
There wasn't really a vote.
I guess.
I just kind of put together the league.
That's fine. You elected official over there, Ryan Tyler. I'm a former elected person.
It is a super damn
it's an important role.
Legit league, I will say that.
Has he got $2.4 billion in there? Because that's what the Browns might need for that new stadium. There's
Not quite.
a lot of things
Not
coming
quite.
out about the stadium. We'll get to that. We got timeout. We'll get to the grid. I'm excited about this morning. Hour 2, Ken Miles, big play. Angry Ken. He's going to join us. We're talk horse racing. We have the Kentucky Derby this weekend. And I always love doing Cleveland ties to things. You will have a semi-Cleveland tie to a horse potentially this weekend in the Kentucky Derby.
If you had a horse, Matt, that was in the race, what would you name it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you got to think on that.
I can't.
Okay, I'm putting this on you. We're both going to do this. By the end of the show, we have to come up with our horse name.
Fine. Like, Ken's horse is named Seize the Gray because it's a gray horse. It's a really pretty looking horse. It is. He's a gray horse, so they call him Seize the Gray. So we'll talk to Ken in hour 2, all horse racing. Again, timeout, morning update. We'll get to our boost for the Guards tonight. Tough one for them last night, but man, am I feeling good about the Cavs. Let's talk about it right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. It always feels good to wake up with a win. Cavs get it done. 104-103. Boncaro hit that late 3. Didn't quite cover, but that's okay. The block from Mobley. Marcus Morris coming off the bench. You got 28 and 23 from Mitchell and Garland. That's what you needed to be able to step up without having Evan Mobley out there. Max Strus, thank you. Okay? I was critical. He sent that air ball from way behind the arc. And oh, my God.
He was feeling himself. I'll give him that.
Oh, my God. He hit some clutch threes. You did get a little bench production. I'm just so happy about that Cavs win last night. And again, I went into the game feeling positive about how the Cavs are going to play last night. I thought there might be a blowout. Probably bad on my part knowing that we haven't had very many close games. Like John Michael was talking about on the broadcast. And he said, of the 4 games, yeah, the 2 here were closer, mostly because Orlando made them close in the 4th, and then we just got smoked down there. But really, this was the first game that was close going into the 4th quarter.
The overhit.
It did. Both teams scored 100. All right.
Cash in on that.
Dude, what game was I watching? That some team, I feel like it was like the Miami game the other day. They had 31 points at half or near halftime or something. I go, teams put that up in the middle way through the first quarter in this pace. But defense has been the name of the game. And The Cavs, again, that seemed, without Jared Allen, which you could feel that seems to be the recipe for success. You have got to have Darius Garland shooting. You have to have Donovan Mitchell being your leading scorer. You have to have Evan Mobley playing defense. But what was the biggest shift last night? You got contributions from some of the guys that we talked about. Max Strus. I'm going to go ahead and sub in Marcus Morris for George Niang. Sit Niang, man.
Oh, yeah. You are a bench warmer.
Yeah, you had to do it. You had to do it. He's a friend of us here at Big Play. Here's the thing. I expect George Niang to play on Friday. I expect him to be.
I don't.
I do.
No.
I do.
Why would you play him?
I don't think you can get too far away from what your rotation was. Okay, I want to talk about this later. Let's do it now. Like on the Marcus Morris thing, and we got a lot to talk about JB. Well, why not put him in there early? Do you really think you're going to get that production from Marcus Morris every single night? Now, again, I'm not crapping on JB for making that decision. He clearly made the right call. But, Ryan, that's a roll of the dice. We're going to change the rotation. Now, the situation you were in, you had no choice but to. You had to start Okoro. You had to change some things up. And some people are upset about, like, oh, well, why didn't you just put Marcus Morris in there earlier? I don't ever think it's quite that simple. And maybe I'm dumbing it down too much.
I just think it's come to the point George Niang is unplayable.
Well, the thing is, I could have said the same thing about Max Strus at a point.
Yeah, but I'll come back and say no, because that's not true. Because even as abysmal, and I mean abysmal, as Max Strus shooting was in that first half,
defensive rebound.
His defense was the reason they won that game.
And he's got a scrappiness to him. He picked up the fouls. He was getting pissy.
I understand George Niang can get scrappy. He's not doing what Max Strus did.
He's not on the defensive end. No, I understand that.
Not one bit.
And that's why that took some cojones there from JB Bickerstaff to make a change in a very pivotal game. And obviously it worked out with Morris hitting some nice shots. I tweeted that, dude. I never thought on my bingo card that I'd have Marcus Morris hitting multiple big threes and crucial points for the Cavs in a playoff game.
Even at times when the Cavs struggled and they had many droughts, that's the reason the Magic were in the game. Marcus Morris stepped up and got his own buckets.
Yeah.
He made jumpers.
He did. And the thing is, now, like, that's kind of my point of, like, is it just easy to say, all right, well, Morris is in now? And I guess
I think I'm not saying give him more minutes than he had yesterday.
Just take that Niang role.
You can't play Niang. You can't do it. You can't do it.
The thing is, that is the better option because you're going to get roasted if you go the other way. If you put Niang back in there
and he plays
like crap, everybody's going to freak out. You put Marcus Morris in there, most people are like, all right, what else were you going to do? Right? You got to play somebody. This is the option that you're going to have to go with. So JB, it's unfortunate because I still think we're in the same situation with him. He made some adjustments, which were great. But last night also showed that game was the talent weighed out. And we were missing arguably our second best player last night. We are still the more talented team. And that is how that game played out, where your talent superseded what the Magic are. Last night, the Magic suck. Like, seriously, I don't think the Magic are very good. I think Paolo Banchero is very good. Some of the things that the Magic do, I go, what? What are you trying to run right now? They run some weird offensive sets, and it's something we've discussed about some of these other games. They try to drag the Cavs down into their hellhole on how we run things and make it a scrappy, sloppy, crappy basketball game. There were elements and stretches of that last night. The Cavs persevered, I think, by their talent. You had Donovan Mitchell at times say, now's my time. I can be critical on Darius Garland. What did he have in the first quarter, Ryan? 17? Mm-hmm. Finished with 23. What happened?
Yeah, I wonder,
more shots for Mitchell. You had other guys step up, but that was something, again, it's a win. I'm not trying to be negative this morning, and I'm not. We're just, keep going, man. Like, keep going. And Garland was getting fouled. I know Reflog sent the video out to Isaac Okoro's non-foul call.
I don't know what
these refs got their heads up their butts, man.
Yesterday was bad.
And I'm not trying to rip Tony Brothers and his crew because Tony Brothers is a veteran NBA referee. He's not a guy that I would look at and say is not one of the best referees.
They just weren't calling it both ways.
Well, the thing is,
clear.
They're clearly across the league letting the teams play. But, dude, when you got slapping in the head, that is a foul.
I
I
just
don't
ask for
care
consistency.
if you're letting them play or not. When a guy gets raked across the face, that is a foul. I don't care if you're letting him play in the playoffs. So the Cavs, that I thought was another element that they had to persevere for last night. One thing, too, what has been the one thing, Ryan, that I've worried the most about with this team?
I don't know if this is where you're going,
Okay.
but yesterday it was, again, a clear issue. Stop turning the damn ball over, please.
Okay, that
Please.
yes.
And that even goes to Donovan Mitchell.
What
Stop
did we have
turning
last
the ball
night?
over.
Well, he only had 10. Only had 10. I mean, we had games of 17, damn near 20. So 10, but Mitchell had 4. I'm talking about, you're right, the turnover, and I guess this is a part of what I was going to bring up, the mentality. That has always been my thing with this Cavs team. Do you know what you saw last night? A team with some resolve. A little team out there that fought their way through the... You could have packed that in when Jared Allen was out of that game, right? You could have, at stretches of that game, which put up 15 in the second quarter, all that kind of stuff. Even some of the flips, right, about coming out in the third quarter. Has that not been the pivotal time in some of these games? You came out and outscored them there. I thought there were so many things on the mental side of the Cavs. And you're right, a little boost from Marcus Morris, Thompson getting in there because he had to. I liked that about this Cavs team. Now, does that change my outlook? Not necessarily. I still expect the Cavs to win this series. I think it'll be a tough series against Boston when we get there. But that was a little turn, and maybe that's what this team needed. A little turn to say, guys, chips were down. That was a feisty game. Let's go close this bad boy on out. Let's go out there and close it on out. For Orlando to watch how they played, they're probably feeling good to say we took this down to the wire. If Franz Wagner would have just gone up with his left hand instead of his right, maybe we're singing a different tune this morning. That block by Evan Mobley was so impressive, man. I'm sure everybody's seen the replay. Wagner had a step on him. He thankfully went up with his right hand with Pee-wee coaches, Pee-wee basketball coaches screaming. He should have gone up with his left. And then the fact that Mobley blocked it with his left hand. Because the right was not going to get there, Ryan. He was not going to get there with his right hand. That was an extremely impressive play by Evan Mobley to basically save you the game there. That saved you the game. Got the rebound. You play it on out. You hit your free throw. Into some critical free throws at some times.
Mobley brick 2.
Yeah.
Donovan missed the 1.
Right. You cleaned it up. You got out of there with the win, which is got out of there. You're at home. You picked up the win that I hope can catapult this team to where they need to go. I've thought about this question this morning, Ryan, which is a little crazy because were you satisfied with that win last night? Were you satisfied? We talked about the poll yesterday.
I have to be, Matt, but at the same time, I get why.
There are things to be extremely critical about. The thing is, we went into that game last night on our poll question yesterday, and we asked people if you still thought the Cavs were going to win that series. It was 50-50, a little actually slight towards no. So you had people going into that game a little bit on the negative side of how they felt about how the Cavs were playing. Did that win do it for you? Did that win get you back on track? For the people that were out on the Cavs, did that win get you back on track? Or do you look at it and say, that was a bad basketball game, you had to rely on Marcus Morris, all that other kind of stuff? I mean, again, there are critical things, if you really want to search for them, that you didn't like about that game last night. Me, I'm jaded. I'm sorry. I'm happy about the Cavs. I'm going to be uber positive about it. I'm going to feel really good for everything that they showed. Was it perfect? No. Was it sloppy at times? Of course. You still found a way to win that basketball game, especially with a Cavs team that, Ryan, I didn't think they were making key plays when they needed to. And last night, you had key plays, key shots, maybe more on the defensive side of things, but I saw the crunch time plays from the Cavs that I was not seeing throughout this series.
Yeah.
So
I could still be a little, down on the Cavs, letting them just stick around, for lack of better terms. But at the same time, what Paolo was doing in that fourth quarter, I don't care what team you are. He was unconscious. That's tough to overcome, and they did it. So at the end of the day, they won. I can't be upset about it. I'm happy they won, of course. Just I want to see them win in Orlando.
Yeah.
I want to.
No, and that's exercising some demons there. Again, preparing for Boston. By the way, they have the new schedule out. If we win Game 6, we start Sunday in Boston. Cavs are playing on Sunday one way or another. It's either Game 7 here at home against Orlando, or you're traveling to Boston to start that series on out. And that is, of course, if the Celtics win tonight. That's if they win tonight, which they probably will. We're going to go around the NBA, too, coming up in a few minutes as well. But we want to keep talking about the Cavs. Let's talk a little JB. Last night, his hand was forced by having Jarrett Allen not playing those in that game. And whether or not he was already steadfast and I'm going to play Marcus Morris over George Niang.
That's a good question. I'd love to know that.
I'd love to know if that was already in the plans before the the Jarrett Allen injury. I don't want to put that in all account.
That's a great question.
That is an interesting question. Like, when you think about a lot of the critical things about JB, and here's where I'm at with JB. We've discussed a lot. Their Cavs are going to have a new coach next year. I don't think there's borderline anything that they can do to not go down that path, okay? In the meantime, I still need him to make the right moves and call the right sets. I came back to the comments that we discussed from Chris Fedor on his podcast yesterday about the team being a little upset with JB getting them the open looks that they were needing. I look at it from last night. The Cavs shot 35% from behind the arc. That's not bad as a team. Then when you add in that Donovan Mitchell was only 1 out of 7, that actually makes you feel better. Yes, Garland at a time was unconscious from behind the arc. Strus has found his shot. Okoro hit a couple of nice ones. I'm wondering if that was really... I want to give credit to JB. I want to give a little credit to him. Again, knowing that what the future is probably going to be, playing it on out, you saw some of these changes, and I just wonder about that Marcus Morris. Was that because Jarrett Allen was out, you had to bump up Okoro, you needed some size in there with Tristan Thompson? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that this was already in his plans to play Morris over George Niang. I'll give him that credit. I will give that to him this morning. On people that are down and out on JB, it feels like, Ryan, it feels, like futile to try to give credit to him when I think he's kind of a lame duck coach at this point. Yeah. Doesn't mean I don't want to win this series, and it doesn't mean I don't want to take it to Boston. Change it. Change it, JB. Change it for these players. I'd love you to be back. I don't think it's going to happen, but go ahead and just play it on out and see how it goes. But you saw some changes last night that really were needed. Now, again, comes back to chess match of what they're going to do for Friday, what we're going to do versus Friday. Are you going to get Jarrett Allen back for this game? Are you concerned? I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere, right? We all got the alert from the, the 2:30 injury report, right? Oh, my God, he's listed as questionable, contusion, and then he was out. It tells you, dude, that had to have been bad for him to sit out of that game.
Yeah.
Knowing as crucial and as clutch as that game was going to be for him to be out. Now, that being said, a couple of days off, is that something that's going to be fixed? You know how physical this series, this playoffs have been. You're going to need him Friday. I think you're going to need him at some point on Friday. And isn't that just something I hate playing this too, but dude, has the injuries not just been one after a freaking another?
Well, so now if you're JB Bickerstaff, Matt, and this is going to be a hard decision. Let's say Jarrett Allen, either he's 100% healthy or he's not. I'm going to assume he's not going to be 100% healthy coming into Friday. Do you think it was coincidental or consequential that Darius Garland now comes out and finally has the game we all want to see from him? What do we talk about? We don't know if this 2 big man lineup is best for the Cavs. They went down that 19-2 streak when they were just chucking up 33s, and they did that again last night.
Well, I'll tell you something here. When Darius sat down, he did the post-game interview with Serena on the Bally's broadcast. And by the way, I'm not crapping on NBA TV or anything else, but people are complaining. Dude, watch it on Bally's.
Oh, I did.
And I do as well, because I want the hometown flavor. Like, I think John and Brad and Serena, they're so good, Brad. Man. Kaylee and AC, they're the best. And even when I listen on the radio, right, I'm going to listen to Alcorn and Jim Jones. They're the best. So I was listening to that. So Serena grabbed Darius. And I thought this was enlightening. that he admitted that he hurt a little bit, right? He said multiple times, I got a fire lit under me. And Serena did a great job following up, and she goes, well, who? And he goes, my family, my coaches. He heard it. And he went back to something that Joe Varden said in The Athletic. Dude, they're showing me these wide open shots that I'm passing up, and I can't do that anymore. So to your question about the impact, so to speak, between Allen not being out there and Darius Garland stepping up, I'm going to say it's actually probably, what are your two words, consequential and coincidental. I think it's coincidental.
Okay.
I think Darius Garland stepping up more was, bro, you're passing these shots up. We can't do that. Like sitting down and really believing in yourself. Let's call it for what it is. I think Darius Garland lost a little belief. I think he lost a little belief throughout this season, maybe even throughout the playoffs, and hopefully gained a little bit of that back. Again, I don't mean to be critical. The only thing is I would have liked to have scored even more. Bro, you put up 17 in the first quarter. I don't think that set a Cavs record for NBA or for a single quarter playoff game, but they mentioned it.
There was a graphic. He was like fourth.
Okay, he was on the list.
And like 1 through 4 were all LeBron. But it was like by 1 point. By 1 point.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure he was right there. So 17 in the first quarter of a playoff game. Would like to have hit a little bit more, but okay, fine. I think at that point, you maybe turned it over because that's the thing. When you can have Garland scoring, that then lets Donovan Mitchell just kind of lay in the weeds for a little bit. And then when he needs to step up and put up a lot of points like he did, you still have him. To talk Donovan for a second, there was a play, I think it was in the second half. I can't remember exactly when. And he was off in the corner, on the near side corner. The Cavs are attacking the hoop to the right. And it looked like he came up limping for a second. And my heart stopped. I was like, crap. And then he got decked another time and was laying there for a second. And I was like, damn it. Now, granted, he seemed to be all right. He got up. I'm sure all those guys are hurting. All those guys are fighting through something at this point in the season. I get it. But there was that point that I thought Donovan was limping a little bit. To put up 28, still, I think even more impressively, put up 28 by only making 1 3.
That's what I'm saying. It was such a quiet 28.
He got to the free throw line. 9 out of 10 from the free throw line. That, I think, is even more important for Mitchell to attack the hoop. The issue is you're getting in there, you're going to get bodied, and you're going to get slammed. And if you're still kind of carrying a knee injury, which I don't think is completely healthy at this point, you're asking for trouble down there. But that's where Donovan Mitchell, I think, could be even more dangerous. Yes, he can shoot the lights out of the basketball. Attacking is what's going to help. It's going to draw defenders in. Then you can dump it off to Mobley or Allen when he gets back in there. That is what I think changed a little last night from Donovan Mitchell, was a mentality thing about I'm going to attack.
He doesn't really have a choice. Suggs is suffocating him.
Oh, Suggs is all over him. Now, the other thing to watch last night was Gary Harris got hurt. And he was another guy that was really in kind of his pocket, hurting him just a little bit. So that being out, I think maybe changed some things. The foul trouble, again, I go back to something that Jim Chones said on the radio broadcast, I think in Game 4, maybe even Game 3. One of the tactics of the Orlando Magic is going to be what they did last night, get a lot of these guys into foul trouble. 5 each for Mitchell and Strus, and 4 for Isaac Okoro. Bro, if we went to overtime, we were going to be in a lot of trouble.
That was my thought.
A lot of trouble. Now, thank God it didn't get there, but it's clear that is one of the things from Orlando is to try to get some of these Cavs players into foul trouble and trying to use their, because what is one thing Orlando has? They're more physical. They have the taller guys. They got the more bodies. They're going to take it to you on that end, and they got some of our guys into foul trouble. So that's something else you're going to have to watch a little change for Friday night. Hopefully that's it. I'm done with the Magic, bro. I'm over this. I'm done with them.
I am too.
I'm saying this as a Cavs fan. I admit this. But even just watching this series, I don't think Orlando is really good. I think Paolo Banchero is very good. Jalen Suggs is fine. I don't think Franz Wagner is all that.
No,
he's their second best player, at least supposed to be.
Offensively, outside of Paolo, I mean, they're piss poor on
They
offense.
got nothing.
The thing is,
they got nothing.
The Magic aren't necessarily a good team, and that's like they won 2 games on us. They blew us out at home, but whatever. Right. They're very good at dragging them down to your level.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Playing physical ball, and like you said, getting them in foul trouble.
And
They're
I'm
very
not-
good at that. They're very good.
And
at
I'm not
that.
trying to take anything away from the Cavs, certainly, but it's like I watch Orlando play, and I'm just like, ugh. The East is not okay. We're gonna go around the NBA in just a second, but like you watch some of these teams in the East, you realize it's not good. It's really not some good basketball right now. Cavs persevered. They got to win. Plenty more to talk about the wine and gold. We'll get to the stadium updates with the Browns. We're going to get to the grid early. Got plenty coming up in hour 2. But Ryan, let's do it. Let's go around the NBA.
Alrighty, Matt. Well, another great game with the 76ers.
Was a fantastic game.
Tyrese Maxey, man. I'll tell you
Wow.
what. If the Sixers come out, they win the next 2, and they end up beating the Knicks. Tyrese Maxey, man. He's going to have even more fans. Tyrese Maxey
Who was on ESPN this morning? It might have been, was it Malika Andrews? No. Somebody was on ESPN this morning talking about that Tyrese Maxey might actually be like one of the future faces of the NBA.
Dude, he's incredible.
I think it was Andrea Carter. Andrea Carter was talking about it on ESPN this morning.
He's incredible.
Tyrese Maxey has to be in the conversation for the future face of the league from Andrea Carter this morning on Get Up. That was that 3. And I'll admit, I had a parlay and I had money on the Knicks to win. You know what everybody's talking about this morning?
Request Tyrese.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tyrese. But I tell you, man, it was worth it to watch that game. And Madison Square Garden was rocking. That was a playoff atmosphere that you could feel through the TV. Now, I was flipping back and forth. I needed the 3 screens last night. I had the Guardians on. I almost turned them off at a point. I had the Cavs, but I kept flipping back to that 76ers Knicks game. That was a fun game to play out. Ryan, do you know what a lot of people are questioning this morning, rightly so? Why did they not foul? Why? To everybody this morning, CBS Sports, one of the questions up, why did Tom Thibodeau not tell the Knicks to foul before Tyrese Maxey hit that 3? The only thing that hurt you there was a 3. And I think there was a broadcast that, was it Reggie Miller? Somebody mentioned that, and everybody goes, oh, what are you talking about? That was a clear situation. You were actually just better off fouling him.
Yeah, that's always a thing that's so easy in hindsight, though.
But again,
I get the point.
You're only hurt by a 3 in that, and I guess I don't want to say that few of time, because Maxey brought it up, spotted straight up, and said, everybody get away from me. A logo 3. But then the Knicks also had 8 seconds, I think, and they didn't call a timeout, which I think maybe is kind of the smart thing. You're in the flow. They got in not great. I mean, here's the thing. Brunson got to 6 feet, but he was just so far to the baseline that he just put up a horrible shot. And I think it got blocked, too. And then you go to overtime and you just have nothing. Because, dude, even then, come on, in overtime, what's the first thing? Jalen Brunson splashes a 3. And you're like, all right, Knicks are back on this. That was a fun-ass game to watch. That was a really, really, really fun game to watch. But there were miscues in that. The other thing is Embiid. Dude, he's like dragging a foot. Then again, Brunson got smacked on the flagrant there. Fun game to watch. And of the series that I was watching across the NBA, right? You got 2 series in the East that I think are bad. I know the Bucks, dude, we'll get to that game. What in the are the Pacers doing? But anyway, I think you only have one good series on each side at this point. And I think the Cavs-Orlando is a good series because it's close, but it's not good basketball. No. But I think that Knicks 76ers series is close, and it is good basketball, and it is fun to watch. So really a lot of fun to watch. Just as a fan last night, you heard just rock in the crowd. It was so great. I hope that goes 7. I hope, just from a viewing standpoint as a fan, I hope that series goes 7. It's a lot of fun.
Who do you want to win, Sixers or Knicks?
I mean, I guess the 76ers. I don't know.
I'm still a little hurt from last year.
Well, I think, yeah, that, and then also, I just like the drama that gets created with the Knicks, and it's not me trying just to crap on Knicks fans, which a lot of people just enjoy doing anyway. I like that drama, right? Where as soon as the Knicks season ends, are they on the horn calling for, gosh, who was it that Stephen A. Smith said? Devin Booker. Are they on the horn? What are we doing here, right? The issue with that is who's the other name that's going to get swirled around over and over and over and over again? Donovan Mitchell. Now, I sit here, maybe stupidly, understanding, like, I thought that Donovan Mitchell train left the station. When they traded for OG Anunoby, when they made the moves that they had to, I just, for some reason, thought the Donovan Mitchell train was gone. The same thing, then, how the hell would they get Devin Booker? I don't know. So I guess I would take the 76ers. I really don't have much. Should I hate the Knicks more than I do? Probably, I guess, after how well last year went. I guess I don't really have much for or against the Knicks.
It'd be different if that was one of the opponents we're playing next round.
Right. We don't have either one of these teams lined up for us. And as far as the future goes, like, I guess the opposite side is if Philly didn't win, are they then sitting there wondering if they should break it up? Probably not. Like, you're sitting there probably feeling really good about a future of a healthy Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. That's a good core to start. Now, they need a couple other pieces, too. So I guess I would lean Philly. I guess probably just because how the Knicks beat us last year, but that's fine. That's fine.
All right, well, Milwaukee, they survived. They beat the Pacers 115-92. Indiana still does lead 3-2, though, but now the question remains if Giannis and Dame Lillard will be back for the series. Doc Rivers says they are very, very, very close, but he doesn't know the answer to that.
How do you do that? How do you lose that game as the Indiana Pacers? Seriously.
Oh, and Bobby Portis is putting up 29.
I know Bobby Portis and Chris Middleton. I like Chris Middleton. I'm a big Bobby Portis fan, too. How do you lose that game if you're Indiana? Seriously. They should just let Milwaukee advance because that was just such a horrible loss for the Pacers. Now, that being said, you stand there and you actually ask the objective question. Are the Pacers really that good? Pascal Siakam had 12. Tyrese Halliburton had an all right game, but he was MIA for how many games?
Oh, he's the most overrated star there is in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I still give that Trae Young, but that's just me. Like, how did the Pacers you had no business losing that game. Now, they're still up 3-2, and now we all wait for Dame and Giannis. The Giannis thing, I'm glad I'm not in the situation of the Milwaukee Bucks, right? How do you make that decision of we have our star player that it sounds like they're guarding against him tearing his Achilles, Ryan. It sounds like they are truthfully trying to guard against him tearing his Achilles. But you need him out there to close this thing on. I guess maybe you don't because you won that game. How you did, I don't know. And smoked their ass, by the way, too. What is that balance of putting him in? This isn't Dame. Dame Lillard, I think you're putting him in there no matter what. Giannis is your franchise. How do you make that decision, man? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Don't end
Do you think the Pacers are going to close that on out? You have to answer that question right now, not knowing if Dame or Giannis. Because, again, if one of those guys comes back, obviously we're leading Bucks here. But the Bucks got to win 2 straight. They got to win 2 straight here. Just one more for Indiana. I think that mountain might be too much to climb. I think the Pacers are still going to close that out.
I do, too, in Indiana as well. So, I'd lean the Pacers.
Yeah. All right, we got our 3 games for tonight, so we'll go around those with our selections and our trends for that a little bit later. Get you betting with our friends at Tipico. Folks, before we turn over to some football, let's talk a little Tipico. The imperfect parlay is where I want to go. You could play, 2 games tonight. Heat, Celtics, Mavericks, Clippers. So tonight, only 2 games might not be the play there, but you want to mix in a little bit of baseball. You know, I saw this. You want to go to baseball, and you want to place, an 8-leg parlay, and you only want 5 to hit. Folks, imperfect parlay is rocking at Tipico. I'm just going to have some fun with this for a second, right? Baseball tonight, 15 games. We start at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Rays, Brewers. You like the Rays minus a 1.5? All right. Cardinals, Tigers. Give me St. Louis. Twins, White Sox. I'll go Twins minus a 1.5 there. I'll take the Royals to lose to the Blue Jays. I'll take the Braves over the Mariners. I'll take the Phillies over the Angels. I'll take our Reds plus 1.5, all that. Cubs, Giants, Nationals, whatever. I've got a 10-leg parlay. It's plus 6,500, by the way. If I just want 7 of my 10 legs to hit, that's plus 310, right? 7 out of the 10, and I'm still at plus 310. That is the imperfect parlay. You don't need all your bets to hit. You just want a certain number of them to hit. That is what you're rocking with. And across sport, hockey, basketball, baseball, you got it all right now with Tipico. It's my favorite thing going. New promo for us with Tipico. Here's what it is. Code Fontana150, Fontana, the number 150 in the promo code when you sign up with Tipico. Here's what it is. And I know it's a big ask, but you're going to get it back. You deposit $150 into your account with that code as a new customer. You will then get $150 in protected bets, $275 protected bets. And then also a part of that is the cash back rewards with Tipico. Bet like you normally would, and you are going to be hitting that cash back rewards. It is so easy. There is just a very easy graph right on your account for parlays and straight bets. When you start adding that up, you will get your cash back right there with Tipico. They handed out $1 million in the month of March back to the players on Tipico as part of their cash back rewards. It's that easy. It's dollars. It's not something you got to add this up to then get to this level and then you get to this. It's all in there. It's so easy to see. Terms and conditions apply. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And the promo code Fontana150 is for new customers only with our friends at Tipico. Imperfect parlay, cashbacks, all the sports. It's where you're at with Tipico. We'll get to our guards boost a little bit later in the show, but I love with Tipico, man. It's been a lot of fun to watch the NBA playoffs and getting going with hockey, baseball. It's all there with Tipico. All right, we turn over to some football. This news came out yesterday from Cleveland.com. And I want to give credit to the authors. So am I scrolling through? All right, here it is. Cleveland.com and Jeremy Peltzer, shout out to him, recapped what the Browns, according to sources, spoke with the state officials down in Columbus. So Jeremy writes, the Browns do want taxpayers to foot half the bill for either the Dome Stadium in Brook Park or a $1 billion renovation of their existing stadium, according to sources familiar with the discussions. Here, Jeremy at Cleveland.com. While no plan has been agreed upon, the public share of these costs would be split between the state, county, and then either the city of Brook Park or Cleveland, respectively. Browns officials and lobbyists met with state lawmakers and staff in Columbus last week to discuss the plans and show renderings of the potential stadium in Brook Park, both in individual meetings and then also in a group presentation with state representatives from Northeast Ohio. Lawmakers in attendance said they were meant more as initial informational meetings with no specific request yet made for state money. House Finance Committee Chair Jay Edwards, an Athens County Republican, shout out to Ohio, OU, so the Browns representatives indicate their thinking is that the Brook Park Stadium would cost $2.6 billion, with state and local government each kicking in $600 million for a $1.2 billion tag to you, me, and the city of, and the people of Ohio. City of Cleveland, Brook Park, wherever it might be. This is not a shock. Okay, this is something that we have talked a lot about, that they're making the push, that they want a 50-50 split. I think the other interesting parts of this article, number one, $1.2 billion, if paid by the people of Ohio, would be the second largest public funded stadium in the NFL, only behind Nashville, who approved a $1.26 billion renovation for the, or not renovation, the new Tennessee Titans stadium. Do you want to know a little twist to that, Ryan? The 1.26 that Nashville got from the people, that was actually 60% of the new stadium. Not 50 like they're asking for here. That was 60%. So that tells you obviously our stadium would be more, more expensive. Then the other thing that comes out, if they put it in Brook Park, it would have to be sunk 80 feet into the ground to meet some sort of regulation for Hopkins. Now, most stadiums, when you walk in on street level, you're on the concourse and you go down. What do? You go down to the arena, down to the floor. You go down in Progressive Field, and you go down at Brown Stadium. That's just the easiest thing to do. Go down, right? I'm not an engineer. I'm assuming that has something to do with it. But 80 feet seems like a lot, doesn't it? That's 8 stories. Does that not seem like a lot going down?
That does seem very deep.
What's that going to look like? It's going to be weird. I don't know. Then we go back to the potential of downtown. Ryan, do you know what was in Jeremy's article? The land bridge. The land bridge. The land bridge. Find me a unicorn before you find me the land bridge. They have talked so much. And what I'm talking about is we all know like the railroad track and Route 2. And they've discussed so much about connecting the lakefront to the city. Because the only way you can do it right now is East 9th. The sea of people that go down East 9th, I guess you can come up West 3rd too, but whatever. Down East 9th, they want to create this land bridge. How in the hell is that going to work? Seriously. When all you have up Lakeside is a giant-ass building. Well, okay, you have the free stamp, you've got a parking garage, and you've got City Hall. I don't think those are moving, right? So you're still going to be disconnected from the rest of the city. As much as we talk about the stadium, and I think right now there is not much for us to grab onto. This is all, exploring, kind of talking about it. The land bridge is one thing. Like, no, absolutely not. Plus, then who's paying for that? We can't, dude. This has been my biggest thing about Brook Park. There's a reason I keep bringing this up. So now it's official, or again, not official, but about as you can be. They want their 50-50 split. This is not something that the Haslam's, like a lot of people thought that they'd go to Brook Park and they would just build it on their own dime and they'd put in, I was talking with Jordan Zerm, shout out to him, they put a yard house in there and they put an Applebee's in there and they'd put a couple of shops and a hotel and some apartments and they'd own all of it and they'd get all the parking. That was kind of the dream, I guess, that the Haslam's would foot the bill. Well, they're not. If we can't come up, if we're having trouble scraping together $500 million, where the do you think we're going to get $1.2 billion? For what? For, again, these grand ideas of what's going to happen at Brook Park. You can't do the minimum. The minimum is the renovation. We are having trouble getting that done. Maybe we need to, and this is where it's not like you can get that done first and then move over here. There's eventually going to be a fork in the road where a decision has got to be made. The decision will fall on the Haslams. It's their choice of what they want to do. And they're waiting at this point to see what the city and state officials are going to do. But eventually that fork is going to come. And you're going to go one way or the other. The easier path is always the cheaper path. Less money, less involvement, less construction. There is an inherent issue with where are they going to play? What are they going to do? You're going to have to sit them out of there. Is this going to be you just work every summer for 5 years? Then people be really pissed because the few summer activities you actually could get at that stadium, you probably can't because you're going to be working your down to the bone trying to get this done in 4 months every year. A lot of issues. I get it. But I'm just going to stay steadfast on if we're having trouble figuring out the easy path, then I don't see any way we go the hard route. And I get that you might try to tell me that Brook Park is easier. The land is already there. You can work while you're in the old stadium, right? You can $2.4 billion? $2.4 billion with the Haslams asking for the money of 1.2 from the people. I don't see it. I don't see it. I really do not see that. And I'll eat crow, and there's a lot of people telling me that I'm wrong. There's a lot of people that say, Matt, this is inevitable. They're going to Brook Park. You need to get on board with it. I'll believe it when I see something more tangible. I seriously, I think they're going to stay downtown. Now, the thing is, you still got to come up with that money, and you got to figure out what renovations actually means something. I know the Haslams want a dome. I know they want it over there. Where are you going to get the money? Where are you going to get the money? Can think about that ask of $1.2 billion from the state of Ohio. And Cleveland and Nashville, maybe you can make some, comparisons. I was something like demographic, but like, yeah, how much money are they throwing around down there in Nashville? I don't know. If we were the only game in town, if the Bengals did not exist, I think we're having a different conversation. Because then you'd have more of the state of Ohio. You have got to remember that in the state, which again, you want $600 million from the state, then you want $600 million from the city. The state has a lot of Ohio State fans. The state has a lot of Bengals fans. The Titans are the only game in town down there. They'll pass whatever they want. They'll get it done. That's why they came up with it, because they got the whole state behind them. It's different with the Browns. And you got a pocket here in Northeast Ohio. And I'm not saying there are people that aren't Browns and Ohio State fans. But the thing is, you're competing against that. You are competing with it. Because no matter what, well, I don't say this is going to go to a vote. It's not like they're going to, maybe they will. I don't know. What if they put a bill out, Ryan? And they said in a special election that the state of Ohio, that every tax-paying person watching this, listening, you're going to go to the polls one day. And they're going to put this bill in front of you. And they're going to ask you, should we pass this?
They'll never pass.
That's kind of my point. Then where are you coming up with this money? Where are you? Are you going to a reserve? Like what are you doing? Where's this money? You're just going to create out of nowhere. The sin tax are pennies. Pennies, drops in buckets to the money they actually need. Where the f- are you going to get the rest of this money? Where's it going to come from? And I've said, as a taxpayer of the city of Cleveland, I have no problem footing a little bit of the bill, right? I have no problem if they came to me, Ryan, and they said, here it is, and, you know, it's so hard because what? Property tax? I saw something this morning. They want to pass a bill to stop property taxes from going up.
What if they asked you for $500
a year?
No, like
overall.
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
But I get a stadium in Brook Park. See, here's the other issue. I would want to know where my money is going. I would, no joke. Because here's the other thing. It's not just $500 for me. It's $500 for my wife. It's $500 for each of my in-laws. It's $500 for my brother-in-law, for my sister-in-law. It's $500 for every single person. Think about that. And there are people out there. That's a lot of money. I understand that. For me, if you want to keep it downtown, sure. I ain't footing the bill for Brook Park. I don't want to go to Brook Park.
Wow.
I don't want to go to Brook Park. So that's the other issue inherent in this. You not only have people that don't actually care about the Browns, but then there are people divided on where you want to go.
Yeah, that's true.
I would put money towards staying downtown because that's what I want.
And it'd be cheaper.
I am a fan of the team. I want to go downtown. I liked, at a time of my life, tailgating in Muni Lot. I dream of the day I take my son to his first Browns game. I want that to be downtown. I don't want to go to Brook Park. So then if you come to me and say, Matt, you want to foot the bill to stay down? It's almost like a GoFundMe, right? I'd contribute to a GoFundMe to keep him downtown. I ain't doing it to go to Brook Park. No way. No way in hell. That money's still coming out of your pocket, my pocket, everybody else's pocket. I want to know where it's going first. And I think that's the hardest part. There's no way that they could get public support for this until they actually know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Until they actually know. And I'm sure they have focus groups and they try to get it figured out. Bro, they can't come up with a smaller chunk of change on this thing. They can't do that. That's why I'm sorry. I am so pessimistic on this whole thing. I have no faith in any of it. I have no faith in the land bridge. I have no faith in stadium or lakefront development. And I don't have much faith in the Brook Park thing.
Well, so if they're not going to go to Brook Park, like they know Haslam's won't foot that whole bill. There's no. Okay, well, let me start there.
Would you call their bluff?
Let me start there.
Go to Brook Park and pay for the whole thing yourself.
Right. So let me start there. Do you think that's possible? Do you think the Haslam's would actually do that? Because that's where you have to start in all these things.
I actually think there's a world, yes. Right? Of course, they're starting out asking for money. You can't go the other way. Oh, yeah, we'll pay for this whole thing and then come back and ask for money. No. They are smart billionaire business people. They didn't get there by being idiots. They starting by asking to foot the bill. Push come to shove? Yeah. Because it's all the other things we talked about. It's the hotel, the restaurants, the couple other events that you'll get. I'm sure they've done projections to feel like they'll get that money back. What I think ultimately, which is maybe something that's pie in the sky, but I've brought it up and I'll maybe hold on to this too. You do what Chicago did. They bought that land, that forced the issue a little bit, and then you sat down and found a place. Is not the ultimate goal a brand new stadium downtown? That's my ultimate goal. That's your ultimate goal. I don't really give a damn about the dome anymore. I'm making this too easy, I think. And I know it's not that way. How hard could it be to find land downtown or closer to downtown? People talk about the land over by the highway, the post office. Like, can't you find something? Again, here I am with billions of dollars at play here. Just figure it out. Can't you find something downtown to build a brand new stadium? Do that. Do that. I'll submit some money for that. I'm in for that. Outside of it, we'll figure it out. But I thought a few interesting, really things out of Jeremy's article on Cleveland.com. Number one, not shocked that they're asking for 50%. Number two, the land bridge was actually an idea that was brought up, which I don't understand. And that the stadium would be sunk 80 feet down into the ground out there in Brook Park. Another part of this. So I brought up, oh God, what was his first name? Jay Edwards, the finance committee guy. Okay. He thinks the team is looking for lawmakers to include the state funding either in next year's 2-year state operating budget or in a 2026 state capital budget. The idea, Edwards said he was told, that is if the Browns move ahead with the Brook Park Stadium, they would want it open in time for the 2029 season, a year after the lease on the current stadium ends. So again, they're talking about adding this to a future budget or adding this to a future thing. Don't forget, that money then comes out of somewhere. You take it away from education, you take it away from roads, you take it away from what? I don't know.
More potholes.
Lord knows we got enough of those. Lord knows we got enough of those going around. Where's the money coming from? Where are you going to take it from? I don't know. The Browns are pitching a similar idea about renovating Cleveland Browns Stadium with an estimated $1 billion cost split 50-50, between the taxpayers and the Haslams, according to 3 sources familiar with the discussions. During the group meeting with Northeast Ohio lawmakers last Wednesday, Browns representatives said their decision about whether to build a new stadium or renovate the old one will depend on how much public support they got, said State Rep Bride Rose Sweeney, a Westlake Democrat who spearheaded the meeting. If this depends on how much money they're getting, they're staying there and renovating. What do you mean? If literally, according to this, if their decision is going to be off of how much money they get from the state, you better get ready for Muni Lot tailgates for the next 15 years. Ain't going anywhere. I'm fine with it. Me too. I am. I'm fine with it. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we're gonna move this up because we got to do the grid. We're having Ken on in hour 2. We got the morning update. Plenty to run through there. Ryan, let's get to it. The immaculate grid. Here we go. All right. Timer. Go. Here we are. Immaculate grid. For those who don't know, up and down players. What's our statistical category?
1,000 yards in a season rushing.
Rushing. Okay.
Well, we can just rip Saquon.
Jamal Lewis.
2000 to 2009, right? I just want to make sure I'm not messing it up.
I think he played longer than that. I think he was in the 90s.
Only one.
He was drafted by the Ravens in 2000.
Oh, then yeah.
2002. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said 02. 2000 to 2009. That is Jamal Lewis. Yes. Okay, that is him. Do you want to do Jamal Charles? By the way, everybody's when he announced that pick, it was not the. He had to have had it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Jamal Charles. There he is. All right. All right, big picture. Let's get it out here. So the first thing I think Giants up there is Colt McCoy. And then I wonder, did he play for the Eagles? I don't think so.
Mark Sanchez? No.
Yeah. Mark Sanchez, I know, played for the Eagles. Did he play for the Giants?
No.
Did Tyrod Taylor play for the Giants? Or no, play for the Eagles, I mean.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, let's step that away for their second there. Kansas City, Seattle, Josh Gordon.
Did he play a game in Kansas City?
I think he played a game, yeah. I think he did. I hope he did.
Not Kosh.
Kosh Jordan? You like the Kush, I'll tell you that, man. Yeah, he did. All right. KC Philly. Is there not like a direct connect there right now with somebody? No. You know, they have a lot of receivers. So that's probably what I'm getting gummed up on there. Okay. There's a Seattle-Baltimore one that's not coming to my mind right now, but I know there is.
Oh. Jadeveon Clowney.
That's the one I'm probably thinking of. That's probably it. You're probably right. Good call. All right, you want to focus in on Seattle Giants
Yeah,
here?
let's get that column done.
Matt Flynn. No.
I don't think Doug Baldwin played for the Giants.
No. Marshawn Lynch never played for the Giants. Richard Sherman? No.
I mean, okay, Cam Chancellor?
No.
Bobby Wagner?
Oh, man.
Greg Olson, no.
Matt Breida? Did he ever go to Seattle?
I don't know. All right, let's think quarterback. Geno Smith never played for the Giants. Drew Lock, no.
I keep coming back to Colt. McCoy. And again, Seattle does not ring any sort of bell for me with him. No, he never played in Seattle. No.
Should we just move on?
Yeah, again, big picture here. Eagles.
Alshon Jeffrey? No.
No.
Brandon Marshall? Did he ever play for the Eagles?
I don't know.
Deshaun Jackson? He never
So
played.
Deshaun Jackson never played for any of those three other teams. He's a good one there. Darren Sproles, I don't think ever played for any of those other teams. I mean, Randall Cunningham. I don't know why, man. Donovan McNabb. I want to rip Randall Cunningham to the Giants so bad, but it's not right. All right, I Googled it. Do you want to put him in, though?
Who?
Randall Cunningham played for the Ravens and the Eagles.
He played for the Ravens?
Yeah, I didn't know that just for a year. Wait a minute, I hope he actually played a game. Yeah, he played. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Randall Cunningham. Okay. All right.
Eagles, Kansas City.
Oh, man. Blake Bell, tight end.
I think they drafted him.
Yeah. The Selleck brothers, the one was there, but I think he played his whole career with the Eagles. Damn. I think we're missing a big one here. I can't get away from running back. There's something about running back with the Eagles.
No. Jay Ajayi? He played for the Giants?
No, he played for Miami.
LaShawn McCoy.
That's it! I knew there was a running back. I knew there
Eagles,
was one.
Chiefs,
Shady
right?
McCoy. Yes. I knew there was a running back. I knew there was one. I knew it. All right, let's focus back in on our quarterbacks. Fitzpatrick. Did he play for the Giants?
I don't know.
Mike Glennon?
I don't think. And obviously the Giants, but
Yeah. Carson Wentz? No. Nick Foles?
I don't remember him on the Giants.
I don't know. I don't think so either. But there's so many teams that I forget that Nick Foles was on.
Daniel Bellinger?
The tight end?
Did he play in Seattle?
I know he played in New York.
I know.
That sounds... I don't know. I mean, that's a deep cut there. I appreciate that. That's a deep cut there.
Jason Pierre-Paul? I don't think he played for the Eagles or Seahawks.
Jason Peters never played for the Giants.
Graham Gano?
Damn, that would have been a great one for Eagles Seahawks. But we don't have that.
I mean, Graham Gano, Jason Myers. I'm just thinking of kickers right now.
No. Well, yeah, you're right. Graham Gano. Man, if we needed to really rip one for the...
Joey Sly? No.
And he just got cut, by the way.
Yeah, by
Washington, I think.
Washington?
Yeah. Oh, no. Jacksonville. Because they also released Zay
Zay
Jones,
Jones.
which a lot of people are interested to see if he can come to the Browns.
Jamal Adams went to the Jets.
Man. legacy type guys, Michael Strahan. Wait a minute. Did Michael Strahan not play for the for the Seahawks?
I don't know.
Am I making that up? I think I am. Yeah, because he played the Giants his whole career. Yeah, I am making that up.
The brain's a funny thing.
I
That's
want
hilarious.
it to work so bad for the grid, and it never quite does. All right. We might have to call it. It's 10 o'clock. We it's the morning update. We got to get to Ken.
All right.
All right.
What do you want to see?
Yeah, just the two that we missed.
Giant Seahawks, right?
Giant Seahawks, yeah.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, good call. You're
Golden
right.
Tate.
Oh, Leonard Williams. Oh, my God. He just got there. I mean, he's played, but man.
And then what did we miss?
Eagles, Giants. There's going to be a legacy guy on here.
Herschel Walker.
Yeah. I wouldn't have gotten that. Quarterbacks?
I don't know any of them.
Okay.
There's a lot, but I don't really.
Not a lot of
know
name
any of
recognition
them.
there?
Yeah, no.
Not a lot of name recognition there?
Mark Ingram.
I would not have gotten that.
Dylan Lewis.
A million guesses there. All right, that is the grid for you. All right, let's just catch our break, tell you about Tipico. When we come back, we're going to give the morning update, and then Ken Miles going to join us. Of course, Ken right here, big play. He's got a horse that's almost into the Kentucky Derby. We'll talk to him about that. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. You saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
How does an Ohioan build the perfect parlay?
Who's got something? Big guys looking for long odds. The kids in Columbus are covering better than anyone, and at even odds. If it's even, I'm leaving. Listen, our championship DVD starts today, all right? Dude, I just got an invite to a Cincy playoff watch party. Shut up. Cincy, State, Cleveland, the perfect parlay. I'm a genius.
For the best odds on Ohio sports, bet with your cojones.
It is Spanish, dummy.
Bet with Typical Sportsbook.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
All right, welcome back to Fontana Show right here on Big Play. We get to the morning update. We got time up, and Ken Miles going to join us. Talk a little horse racing this weekend, Kentucky Derby. We're going to show you a picture. So Ken has a horse. that the fact that he, at this point, has missed out on the Derby by about 6 inches is insane. We'll show you that picture. We'll talk to Ken coming up in just a little bit. But, Ryan, we got a lot of stories to get to. We call it the morning update. Please take it away.
All right. I just want to say real quick, Charles said, damn it, my power went out in the middle of the grid.
Oh, Charles is our guy on the grid, man. He helps us out on YouTube. By the way, if you are watching...
Shout out Beast Girls, too.
Yeah, dude, tweet at us. Get on the YouTube side of things. Get on the Twitch comments. This is meant to be a group activity. You know, all right, real quick, because we got the morning update to get to. You and I sometimes struggle a little bit with the grid, but what I like is it's a mental activity.
It stimulates
Doesn't it get
you
you going a little bit? And I hope the people out there, if you're sitting at work, sitting at home, just get you a little mental activity going with you in the morning. All right? We want your help. We want you to get going there. Some are easier than others. It just, I don't know, it gives me a little boost. I enjoy doing it. So I have fun with it, even though we struggle with it. My dad watches the show every day, and he goes, I'm sick of the grid. I'm sick of sitting there watching you guys struggle with the grid. We put the timer on it, so it goes pretty quick. All right, grid is done for the day. We didn't get it done. We'll be back with that tomorrow again. Ryan, morning update, please.
All righty. Well, speaking of struggling, Hunter Gaddis, Matt, the Cleveland...
Okay. Go. No. Go ahead. Finish out. Go. Why is everybody all of a sudden freaking out on Hunter Gaddis?
I'm not freaking out.
I'm not you. Okay, he gives up the home run last night. You had no business being in that game. And I understand that that's not a good excuse to lose. Like, the bats were hot. You came back. Whatever. All right? I like Hunter Gaddis in the back end of that bullpen. And people are going to say, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Game log. All right?
He was easily our best bullpen pitcher up until that point.
All right. Okay.
Outside of Clase.
Okay. Hunter Gaddis has 3 blown saves in a row. All right, I get it, right?
Very tough stretch.
Last 3 outings, 4 hits, 3 hits, 1, 2, 2, 2. He's given up 2 runs in each of his last 3 outings. Okay, maybe I need to cool a little bit on Hunter Gaddis. I guess I look at it from this standpoint. I think he's still learning as a guy that's now a converted starter. He's got gas in the back of that bullpen. He's going to have lumps. He's going to learn. I like him in that setup role also because who the hell else are you going to put in that setup role? I don't trust Eli Morgan there. I don't trust Cade Smith there. I don't trust Tim Herron there. What else are you going to do? You get Henges back? Maybe? I don't know. There's bigger issues afoot with the Guardians. I'm sure cookie might be baked.
Wow.
Sorry, that was just...
The cookie has crumbled.
Bad, Matt. Stop it. That was bad. That was really bad. I'm sorry.
Xavion Curry coming up.
It's going to have to be. They're going to have to make that move when they get back off this road trip, man. That's just, I love Cookie, and maybe they can find a spot for him in the pen. That's done.
All right, Matt.
Yeah.
Well, on the good news side of things,
Yeah.
our Cleveland Cavaliers, they retake the series lead against the Magic 3-2. Donovan Mitchell leads away with 28 points. Evan Mobley with a game-winning block as now we head to Game 6 in Orlando Friday night as we try to wrap this thing up and move on to round 2.
You fought well. You played a tough game. You had to do it without Jared Allen. I was impressed with that Cavs win last night. I was happy they were able to persevere and get it done. Was it a great game? No. Was it sloppy? Yes. Did you get a couple of guys shooting a little bit better? Yes. The keys will continue to be Darius Garland, Max Strus, even a little Evan Mobley. What you get back from Jared Allen, this team's not going anywhere if Darius Garland can't shoot. That's just how it's going to go. And I'd like him to shoot more. I took the foot off the gas after that 17 in the first quarter. It's crazy to say your future really kind of rides on Darius Garland and what you're going to do in this playoff series and what you're going to do in the playoffs in general. Built it up that way. I'm sorry to say that is what it is, but hopefully Darius has found his shot and he can be a little looser. Play loose. Just keep shooting, buddy. That's just exactly what I would say to him. Just keep shooting. You're doing just fine.
All right, well, not doing fine are the Los Angeles Angels as they get the unfortunate news that Angels star Mike Trout will indeed need knee surgery for his torn meniscus. There's no timetable for his recovery, but sources say best case scenario, 4 to 6 weeks.
Why is he still in LA?
Is he the biggest waste of talent in sports history?
Yes. From the standpoint you're talking about waste of talent of you have, it's a little like LeBron. You had LeBron here for 11. Now, you won a championship, and you were perennially in the playoffs. So
when
I guess
have they sniffed the playoffs twice?
Never. And, dude, Anthony Rendon, seriously, go look at his contract. He's not played more than 60 games in 5 years. 5 years for the LA Angels.
Isn't he the one who said he doesn't really care about baseball? Or
it might be him. I don't know. He's just perpetually here. Get Mike Trout out of there. And you want to know what? I'm sure baseball is putting some pressure on the Angels to get Mike Trout out of there.
Cleveland.
Do you want to know the sad thing is? Oh, dude, didn't he got a $400 million deal? I don't think he's coming here. You want to know the sad thing is? I think Mike Trout wants to stay in L.A. That's kind of the scuttlebutt that's been out there is he wants to stay there. Maybe he's even apathetic towards it. Maybe he's like, I don't really care.
The Joe Thomas of baseball?
I'll just stay here. That's fine. Get him out of there. Get him to a player. I don't know who. Go play for the Dodgers. No.
Stop
Can
that.
you imagine that money, that payroll? Holy God.
Would you rather him go to the Dodgers or the Yankees? I guess the Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't want.
Okay.
I want the
now,
Yankees.
how about this?
Okay.
Astros or Yankees?
Yankees. I don't want the Astros to have anything. I don't want the Astros to have anything. I hate them. Send him to the Braves. Send him to the Phillies. I don't care. Get him out of LA. I think there might be a chance that this trade deadline had happened. What's Mike Trout's deal? 6-year. No, that can't be right. Hang on. He's owed $35 million every single year through 2030. No matter what. 12-year, $426.5 million. Isn't that crazy, though, just at 35 a year?
That'd be nice. Well,
you're almost,
yeah.
I don't want to say you're halfway through it, but.
Oh, no, he is.
You're
you're talking
pretty,
about the contract.
Yeah. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more years of Mike Trout after this season. But, of course, the thing, he's got a no-trade clause.
Mike Trout, the best baseball player in the last 20 years?
Yeah. I literally, the only reason I paused is trying to think of somebody else.
Yeah.
Consistently, nope.
Yeah.
For defense, he's starting to steal more bases again. He's so good. He is so good. So he needs to get the hell out of there. Yeah, you're right. It's been malpractice. It's been mismanagement. They can't put the team around him. They let Ohtani go. They just need to see. And here's the thing. You will get a buttload of prospects for him. You will get the pick of the litter. Trade him on out, man. Get him out of there. And I think there's a point where baseball, they need him out of there too. You want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs, don't you? Yeah. You want to see him. And LA is a marquee market, not for the Angels, though. Get him out of there. Get him to somewhere else. I think we all need to see that.
All right, Matt, one last one here for the morning update. It is the story that keeps on giving. Apparently now in the Shohei Ohtani, Ibe Mizahara case. Yes. Man. So it seems that now a series of $500,000 payments of Ibe Mizahara from Shohei Ohtani's bank account were sent to an illegal bookmaking operation that were forwarded to California and Las Vegas casinos, where the money was deposited in gambling accounts, converted to playing chips, and later cashed out to pay the bookie.
That is money laundering. If you've watched Breaking Bad, one of the things they brought up before they bought the car wash was money laundering it through the casino. Actually, a better idea would be, did you watch Ozark?
I did watch. Yes,
oh
that's
my
exactly
God, what a good show, by the way. Exactly what they did. They created a casino to wash the money. Now, apparently, too, also off of that, they got like 10 people on federal charge. Like, this was a big sting operation. This is a big, like, racketeering type thing that they took down on that. What happens with Ohtani? I want to believe that he didn't have anything to do with it. I don't really believe that. But baseball, I think they're going to let it they just want this story to go. They just want him to go to jail. Talking about Mizarra. They want him to go to jail. They want us to be quiet on down. And you just get away from this with Shohei Ohtani and let him play it on out. We'll see how it goes. All right, a huge week in sports, the Kentucky Derby around the corner. To talk about it, because there could be some Cleveland flair. We bring in Ken Miles, big play. Ken, I love when there's big things like this, when we can somehow get a Cleveland tie to it. Now, the thing is, at this point, there isn't one. Ken Miles joining us. Ken, tell everybody about your horse and where you guys stand getting into and the potential that we'll see your horse this weekend at the Kentucky Derby.
Well, hey, Matt, great to see you. And yeah, it's one of the most exciting weeks of the year from a horse racing perspective. And I would love to tell you that I've got great news and a Cleveland connection, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Our horse, Sees the Gray, came so darn close.
Do we have the picture, right? Ken, we're showing people the picture right now. What is that, 6 inches? Oh,
6
literally
inches.
A horse's nose. You guys lost out on the Derby.
Yeah. So for those people that aren't aware, and many people aren't, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes are only for 3-year-olds. So you only get one shot. So for all my friends and family that say, "Oh, you could do better next year," this is what was our one shot for Seize the Gray. And just to put it in perspective on how hard it is to get in the Derby, there's 35,000 3-year-olds vying, thoroughbreds around the world vying to be in the Kentucky Derby. And the way it works is you start your racing career usually as you're a 2-year-old horse. And then based on how you do, you start racking up points towards the Kentucky Derby. When you're good enough, you get in races that get you points towards the Kentucky Derby. The top 20 horses in points as of the really third week in April then qualify for the Derby. And some of those races, if you finish first or second, regardless of your point position, you're in. So the picture that you're showing was a race where we were in, where first and second automatically gets you in the Derby. And we finished a nose out of second in third place. We ended up on the point list number 23rd. And that actually, when they did the post position draw last Saturday, there's 20 horses in the field and 3 what they call also eligibles. And we were 23rd on the list, so we were also eligible. But we have to make a decision. If we stay on the also eligible list, we may not run at all. But if we wanted to, because we're that good of a horse, we could be on the Derby card. So our trainer, Dwayne Lucas, and us got together and decided we will take ourselves out of contention for the Derby, also ran, and we're running in what's called the Pat Day Mile. It's a very big race. It's a grade 2. It'll also be on NBC at around, I think at post time's about 4:15, 4:30. So yeah, we got a Cleveland connection.
We'll still see him, and we'll still see him on Saturday, which is great. Ken, it's so interesting when you talk about the point. I want to, how many races? Like, so for Seize the Gray, who just missed out, because the other thing you and I were talking about, you guys would have needed 3 horses to drop out for you to get in. Right. That's probably a really tough ask. How many races would it take for Seize the Gray? Like, how many has he had to even get in this position to potentially make it?
Yeah, that's a lot of people don't realize. And by the way, if we would have stayed in, 2 horses have dropped out. So we'd be right now 21. So we'd be 1 away. So my wife is on pins and needles. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm sure somebody's going to drop out, because as you mentioned, these horses have not run very much at all. As I said, they're 3-year-olds. They start their career as 2-year-olds about halfway through their 2-year-old year. And so they've run maybe 3 races, 4 races, but they've never run a race with 20 horses. So this is so new to them. And they've never been in front of a crowd like this. That's new to them. And they're animals, but they also have such huge personalities that you just don't know how they're going to react. And so that's why we laugh when we watch the Kentucky Derby on TV, or hear the prognosticators, or read all the articles of who's going to win. Everybody's so certain who's going to win. Nobody knows. It's usually not the favorite that wins, because this is so unpredictable. And just to put it in perspective, the standing in the starting gate while 20 horses load is so new to these horses, with all this excitement and energy. And I can only tell you, after having been there a number of times, the energy of 300,000 people is so palpable. And believe me, the horses feel it. And then when that gate opens, the sound, just the sheer sound and explosion of 20 horses, all compact, coming out of the gates, it's unlike anything these horses have ever seen. So that's why where you're at in the post position and in the gate lineup is so critical. And some of the favorites this year are going to have a real tough time, because they're in post position 1 and 2.
Ken Miles joining us. Of course, you can see Seize the Gray in one of the earlier races, talking about Northeast Ohio connection to the horse race. And Ken, of course, one of the owners of that horse. Ken, I see it all the time, too, when they're in there and you see the horses getting fidgety and you see the people have to jump back in to kind of calm them down. What's that like as an owner, like the build-up? Because you mentioned it, where you're going to ask this. We ask athletes, people, to show up on the biggest stage. I think about the Olympics, where you train for 4 years. You get 1 shot. And if you wake up that morning with a cold, you wake up with a sore ankle, and you got to go out there and perform for your 1 shot, it's the same thing. But now you're asking that of a horse and an animal. And you're right, you spend so much time with it. What is that morning buildup? Not even for the Derby, which I know you've been to and all that, but even some of the other big races. What's that morning like for you? The owner, the jockey, the horse itself. There's got to be a lot of momentum buildup.
Yeah, so these are the best way I could describe it is these are world-class athletes, and on the day of the race, they know. They have an instinct. And by the way, these racehorses love to race. This is what they're bred to do. They're thoroughbreds. This is what they want to do in their life. So anybody that will say to me, oh, this is not fair to the horse. No, this is what they were meant to do. And in the wild, thoroughbreds just run wild. They just run all the time. So they love it. But on the day of a race, they definitely know, and they're treated like kings. Give you an idea for the actual race. Maybe about a half hour before the race, my wife and I will go down into the paddock area and we'll talk with our trainer and we'll be standing with our jockey. And we're fortunate. We've got, for a number of our horses, some of the top trainers in the country and top jockeys. And then your horse will be brought out from the barn and into the paddock area. And it's quite an emotional moment, actually, as you're standing there. And, it's like your child. And you're talking to them and you're saying, come on, you could do great. And you could tell if they feel good or not. If you see a horse, and if you're watching the Derby on Saturday or whenever you're at a race, if you see a horse profusely perspiring, that's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to do is you want the ears perked up. You want the tail wagging. And then you hear the famous sound. And that is at every race. That's the call to the track. That means riders up, and then you walk with your horse out onto the track. And trust me, my heart is beating.
That's got to be such a cool walk, though, Ken. I mean, that's got to be up there when you're walking out there. That's got to be awesome.
Yeah. So then you get to the track, and that's when you start feeling the emotion of the crowd, because when you come, it varies from track to track, but when you actually get to the dirt surface of the track, the owners peel off and the trainer peels off, and then the horse starts his parade around the track to the starting gate. Now, when you get to the starting gate, again, depending upon how many horses and where you're at will dictate how long you're standing in the starting gate. I suppose maybe I don't know if I'm giving away any secrets here.
Oh, I'm going to ask you in a little bit for some of your inside stuff for the betting, but to your point, you don't want to be in the gate long, right?
No. So, but here's what our jockeys do. They've practiced so much on the horse, and they've done so much gait training on the horse that they'll have a certain tap that they'll do. So when the horse goes in the gate, when they're telling him you're not close to running yet, they might just be tapping him like this.
Okay.
And so that's a signal to the horse, relax, relax, relax. And then depending upon when it's time to start, and the jockey has to be watching the starter and seeing what's going on around him, he'll change the signal to the horse. And then right as the gun's about to go off, he'll change whatever he's doing, and he'll give the prep to the horse, the signal, get ready, because when that gate opens, you're going to fire, and then he's going to try and time it with a hit. So there's so much behind the scenes that people don't know is going on.
Ken Miles joining us. Of course, we'll catch Seize the Grand, an earlier race on Saturday, but Derby coming up. Ken, kind of off of that, I'm not necessarily individual picks or something like that, but when you look at people that want to place a wager for Saturdays, there's something, I know some people might go, their recent races, how well have they done? I know the track surface is a very important thing for some people. Is there something that you really look at and you say that's a great thing about this horse that you think they're really going to have a strong push there on Saturday?
Yeah, so there definitely is, because for a race like this, history shows that the jockeys that have been there the most and know how to maneuver their horses definitely play a role. And the top Kentucky Derby jockey, and he rides a number of our horses, is Tyler Gaffleone. And he's riding Sierra Leone, who's probably considered by most people the favorite in this race. Chad Brown is one of the top trainers. We've been fortunate. We've had him train for a couple of our horses, and he's just really top notch. The problem with Sierra Leone is he's in post position 1. Remember, there's 20 horses. And so that means he's got to fire out right when that gate opens. Now, again, if any jockey is going to be able to make this happen, it's Tyler. But if he doesn't get out just right, what happens is that field crushes in, And now Sierra Leone's going to get pushed way back. And again, as I said, they haven't run with this many horses. And so they haven't experienced all the dirt being kicked up on them. And it's a long race. It's probably the longest race these horses have run so far in their career. And so a horse like Sierra Leone, who's typically in the front, now is going to get, if he doesn't get that big start, it's going to be pushed back and he's got a lot of dirt. On top of that, the forecast for Saturday looks like it might be rainy. So now that makes it even worse because not only do you have dirt, but it's mud that's coming up. And it just changes the complexion. And by the way, on a muddy day, the jockeys, this is something I didn't know till we got into this, they'll wear 3 or 4 goggles.
Oh, I've seen it where they've got like one down, one up top, wearing one, and then they got I don't know how you do that on a horse.
It's really nutty. And you can imagine 20 horses kicking up a lot of mud. So Sierra Leone is definitely a strong horse. Fierceness, who's right now 5-2, a Todd Pletcher horse, has a real good track record in the rain. So he's a horse that I'm looking at. But I think you kind of just have to go with your gut on this.
Okay.
I do have a few picks, but trust me, if you want to have some fun in the Kentucky Derby, I'd say play some of the longer shots.
Sure.
And that's what we try and do because we had a horse a couple years ago. His name was In Due Time. Again, this is so frustrating. We made it to the Derby. He got hurt a day before the Derby. We had to pull him out. That led in a horse named Rich Strike that nobody really knew about. He was 99-1. Trust me, that whole Saturday on NBC, Mike Tirico, and nobody was talking about this horse, Rich Strike, and he ended up having the biggest upset in the history of the Kentucky Derby. So anything can happen because these horses are so young.
It is a lot of fun, and it's thing, I'm not into it like every day, but Ken, how do you not watch the Kentucky Derby on a Saturday, right? I mean, it's one of the biggest sporting events of the year. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, aside of the horse, this is the stuff I really want to talk. What are the perks that you get as an owner at the Derby? I got to know, what's it like being down there? Are you a big mint julep fan? What's the coolest thing about being an owner that gets to go to Churchill?
I think the coolest thing, there's so many cool things.
A parking spot? There's got to be a killer parking spot for you, right?
Yeah. So there's definitely the owner's suite.
Yeah.
And so you're in a very select crowd of people. And of course you see all the top trainers. And I've been fortunate. We've been in some big races where you've got the cameras and NBC Sports following you around and asking you for the interviews and those types of things. But I think the coolest thing about the Kentucky Derby as an owner is, unlike other races where the paddock is right underneath the stands, and that's where you usually meet your horse, the tradition for the Kentucky Derby is you go to the back barns and then you walk with your horse on the track in front of the crowd to the paddock area where they actually get their saddles on. And so for those people that are watching on Saturday, that's usually about a half hour before the race itself. Trust me, there's no feeling like it as those owners are walking probably a once in a lifetime walk. Because if your horse wins the Kentucky Derby, first of all, that puts you in such rarefied air, but and the amount of money you win is spectacular. But many of those horses go on to be stallions, and the stallion fee for being a horse that's actually a stud. And by the way, in thoroughbred racing, there's no artificial insemination, so you have to be able to physically mount a mare. Not every one of those horses that win can do it, but if you can get to that point, the amount of money is insane. Probably somewhere in upwards $50 million in stud fee a year for about 10 years.
And like you said, 35,000 horses down to 20 down to 20. What a ride it's been. Ken, I want to ask Cavs, big win for them last night. I feel good about them, Ken. I think they're going to be able to close the series out, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, as long as Evan Mobley just keeps playing great defense.
Yeah. That was a block. It
was spectacular. But there's nothing. I love sports and I love all my Cleveland teams, but there's nothing like the the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. And if you've got a horse, when they're yelling and down the stretch they come, and you're one of those horses,
it's gotta be something.
you're about ready to pass out.
Well, Ken, really appreciate you coming out. Again, we'll see Seize the Gray because he'll be out there on Saturday. We'll be rooting for him, but we'll be watching the Derby. Ken, enjoy the hell out of the weekend. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, thanks, man.
There he goes, Ken Miles. Dude, I can't even imagine how cool that must be. Like, to be walking out, like he said, it's almost like your child. You're walking, you put so much time, effort, money, all these things into this horse, and you get to go out there in front of everybody with the hats, with the mint julep, with all that. Like, dude, that's got to be so cool.
Okay,
that's
so
be
explain
awesome.
to me, because I'm not literate in horses.
Sure.
What's a mint julep?
It's a drink.
Oh, it's a drink.
Oh, it has nothing to do with the horses.
Oh, it's a drink.
No, that is the official drink of the Kentucky Derby.
Oh.
So, like, okay, so there are people, and again, I think it is like Kentucky. Like, I've got, my sister-in-law went to the University of Kentucky, so she spent a lot of time there. When I tell you that down there, obviously, it is like the biggest thing in the world for them, because that's a big horse racing thing, and it's all that. So the official drink, and I think it's sponsored by Woodford, actually, of course, that makes a lot of sense, for a mint julep. So here's what it is. A simple syrup, white sugar and water. You need some muddled mint, a little bit of ice, and then you put your Kentucky bourbon over top of it. And that's what you make. So I know people that are really into the Kentucky Derby. They have Kentucky Derby parties, and they will just make mint juleps all day long.
Wow.
They are delicious. A little sugar, a little mint, a little bit of the bourbon there. So that's why I didn't know if they were like better, you know, in the owner's suite. Because the other thing about the Kentucky Derby, I should ask Ken about this. About like, that is one of those events that if you're seen at it, like LeBron might actually be there because he's out of the play. I mean, you see David Beckham, you see Rob Gronkowski. I mean, you see, it's like the Formula One race. You want to be seen there because it is the Kentucky Derby. And I was talking to Ken all week, getting ready to go, and I wish so bad that Seize the Gray was going to make it, man. I would have been so great. Because Ken, again, owner of that horse, and we showed the graphic earlier, dude, he missed it by that much. That much. And then Ken did tell me, you know, we're a part of it because we're on the basically alternate list. And like he said there, they ended up having to pull out, but they're now all of a sudden they were on the nose there getting in. Because he also, too, I'll tell you this, too, Ryan. If, like, let's say, because Seize the Gray, Ken's horse, is out, and another horse drops out, they'll just run 19. They won't, like, find somebody else to make it 20. They'll just take a horse out, and that could happen between then and now. These horses are there. They're training. They're all that kind of stuff. It's so interesting. So I really appreciate Ken coming out. There's so much of that insight that I think is really interesting. And I was like, even just last time Ken and I were together just talking about it. Dude, there's so much. Again, I'm with you. I'm not as big of a horse person as some, but it's like, I think that it's interesting. And again, to get this horse, who's still an animal, with millions on the line to go, I hope this is your day, buddy. I hope this is your day. Best of luck. You know, you could do all the training, get out, slip out of the gate, not have a good morning. You could wake up on the wrong side of the barn, buddy. I don't know. And you're just not having that day, but it's super interesting. So I appreciate Ken. So again, watch Seize the Gray in the earlier race there on Saturday. It'll be on NBC, so I'll be watching that. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's catch our final break of the morning. When we come back, we will run through Time Hop, get to our boost tonight for the Guardians, wrap some things up with the Cavs. And Ryan, I know you sent this out this morning. ESPN's 100 best steals and fits. 2 were on the list from Matt Miller for the Browns. We'll tell you about that coming up. Plenty to get to. Fontana Show right here on Big Play.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. And you saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
How does an Ohioan build the perfect parlay?
Who's got something? Big guys looking for long odds. The kids in Columbus are covering better than anyone. And at even odds. If it's even, I'm leaving. Listen, our championship DVD starts today. All right? Dude, I just got an invite to a Cincy playoff watch party. Shut up. Cincy, State, Cleveland, the perfect parlay. I'm a genius.
For the best odds on Ohio sports, bet with your cojones.
It is Spanish, dummy.
Bet with Typical Sportsbook.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
All right, let's get to it. A little bit of time hop. Several movies for you today, Ryan. I feel like we've been on a cold streak there with the movies, but let's get to it. We head on back on the 1st of May. Congratulations, we made it. It's your favorite month of the year. Is it May?
Maybe, I don't know, July. I love the 4th of July. I love when it's warm.
June or October for me. June. I get a lot of things in June. I have my son's birthday, my birthday, now Father's Day, and my wedding anniversary. All pretty much week after week. That's pretty much how that goes. So I love June, but October, something about October. I love the fall. You're into football. Yeah. It's the best beer season of them all out
Halloween.
there. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays, so it's out there. But if you love May, congratulations. We made it. Always a beautiful month. Let's kick it off 1st of May, including 1 year ago today, it was announced the Browns picked up Jed Wills' 5th-year option. So we talked about Greg Newsome yesterday. The deadline was coming up, and I tweeted the same thing about Jed Wills 1 year ago. Of course they were going to do that. And Jed Wills is so polarizing with Browns fans. I'm here to tell you you could do worse at left tackle. Now, I know he got hurt. He's got the injury starting to pile up, and you had to put Garen Christian in there. And he played well, but that's another, like, under-the-radar type thing for the Browns is what are they going to do with Wills, Conklin, and DeJuan Jones? So they signed Brian Allen yesterday. He's a center from the Rams. He's played a lot of games. So I tweeted out the career starts of all the Browns' offensive linemen, even the backups. You're deep. You got a lot of guys in that room. But you got to figure out, you can't play them all. And what they do and maybe a future deal, like, I'm not writing off that Jed Wills is not your starting left tackle of the future. If you want to keep DeJuan Jones over there, then you're going to have to do something with Conklin. People want to flip DeJuan Jones over. Maybe this is the year to do it. I mean, those are all the questions that Andrew Berry and the coaching staff, they're going to have to get figured out. I forgot about this, Ryan, that 4 years ago today, Emmanuel Clase was suspended 80 games by Major League Baseball for a PED violation. I forgot about that.
I did forget about that.
Yeah, I mean, he was early, right after the Corey Kluber trade, the key piece to all of it, but he did miss the 80 games for the PED violation. Remember when the Browns signed Vince Young? Did that this day 2014. He was only here for the offseason as he was trying to come back in the NFL. I don't even think he made it to training camp. I don't remember, but
I didn't know that.
They did sign Vince Young this day 2014. He would not work for the Grid, though, because he never played a game with us. This day 2000, Barry Bonds becomes the first player to ever hit a home run into McCovey Cove. They just opened that stadium. If anybody was going to do it, it'd be Barry Bonds. Think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay. I go back and forth on it because he is arguably the greatest baseball player ever. 7-time MVP, home runs, all that, steroids. I mean, it is what it is. This is kind of creepy and weird, but it is what it is. Do you know who George Mallory is? He's one of the first people to ever climb Everest. He unfortunately passed away on Mount Everest. Ryan, this day, 1999, 75 years after he disappeared, they found the body of George Mallory on Mount Everest. 75 years.
Was somebody just...
I don't know. They just stumbled on him. Was that a rock? Oh, my God. No, it's George Mallory. Well, do you ever read about that? About when people die, they just leave them up there. There's nothing they can do. And there's a big push about Mount Everest, about there's just trash and garbage and human feces up and down Mount Everest. Because you ever see the line? There's literally a line of people waiting to get to the top, to put their little flag on it and then to go back down. Like, I'm out. I don't want to go up. I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down to the bottom of the ocean, and I don't really want to go to the top mountain. The only reason you do that is to tell other people that you climbed Mount Everest. You get up there, you take a picture, and that's it. I think I'm good. I'm not a very adventurous person, as you can tell. I don't want to skydive. I have no interest in bungee jumping. I guess if I really had to pick one, I would say climb Mount Everest, but I really don't have.
I want to go see the pyramids, dude.
Seeing that, oh yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
I've been in a...
But that's cool. You're on the ground. You're just looking at the pyramids.
I've been in a... what's the word I'm looking for? Like a...
I don't know.
Gosh. When you get really into something, you're like not a wormhole,
Yeah, you fall down a rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
You fall down a rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. I've been in a rabbit hole.
Oh.
Of
how they built the pyramids.
His name's Billy Carson.
Okay.
He's a physicist, but he knows like so much stuff. Like he's read all the ancient tablets.
Yeah.
All the books. And I'm telling you, man. Do you know what the Anunnaki are?
No.
I'm not going to get into it. I'll look
quick.
into it.
Now.
They were basically the group of aliens that were here.
Oh, that built the pyramids.
20, 30,000 years ago. Well, no, humans built the pyramids, but they had the equipment and
the technology
had the knowledge of
to
able to do it.
Very interesting. I'm all for it. This day, 1991, Nolan Ryan becomes the oldest player in baseball to throw a no-hitter at age 44, and it was his 7th no-hitter. My favorite thing about Nolan Ryan, do you know he never won a Cy Young? Never won a Cy Young.
I think I did know that.
Because he walked too many guys. He just threw gas all day and walked too many people. Speaking of records, this day, 1991, Ricky Henderson stole his 939th base, breaking Lou Brock's all-time stolen base record. I don't think that will ever get touched from Ricky Henderson. This day, 1980, Dallas was granted an NBA expansion team. I gotta say, I think the Mavericks are one of my favorite names in basketball. I like their color scheme, and I like their name a lot, the Dallas Mavericks. This day, 1947, the Indians announced that all of their games will be played at Municipal Stadium. They abandoned League Park, where they had been playing their weekday games up until then. It's funny, that is not the only League Park reference we'll get to. And just, could you imagine playing your weekday game somewhere and then playing your weekend game somewhere else? For everybody bitching about the stadium usage, they have a heart attack. Wait a minute. It's not being Progressive Fields only open Friday and Saturday and Sundays? Yeah, they play their other games over at, Crusher Stadium out there in Avon.
I wish I could go see Polo Grounds if it was still around.
Oh, the Polo Grounds? Yeah. Well, League Park, still go see that. It's a museum now. They play some games there. This day, 1931, the Empire State Building opened. Been there, seen it, pretty cool. Makes me think of Elf. I don't know why. Speaking of League Park, it opened this day, 1891. Cy Young and the Cleveland Spiders beat the Reds 12-3, opening League Park this day, 1891. This day, 1840, the first ever postage stamp was sold in England. What did they do before that? I guess you just got to walk it to people, or you just have something to drop off. Speaking of wormholes, rabbit holes, there's a Reddit about... I get these reels on my Facebook more than anything about weird questions. And the question was, if you transported somebody from 1924 to today, what is one thing that they just could not fathom? And people talked about how many airplanes are going up there.
Internet.
the internet, and they said how fast information goes.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, you have to wait for the mail to show up. You had to
mean,
wait for a newspaper, and now it's just all here on our phone. Everything.
Today, you get more information and see more faces in a day than they did in their lifetime.
Right. All of that. Scrolling through. What else? Cars. One of the things people brought up, how casually we dress. Back in the day, you were dressed to the nines every day. Like, that's what you wore. Now, it's sitting here in a Bet the Over t-shirt. That's how it goes.
Imagine explaining crypto.
Dude, imagine explaining social media. Imagine telling people that you make a lot of money by posting videos somewhere. So we're just doing all that. I mean, it is what it is. All right, very happy birthday goes out to former Browns offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, former Browns cornerback Corey Fuller, Curtis Martin, Wes Welker, Bradley Roby, Miles Sanders, Chet Holmgren, and Tim McGraw, all celebrating birthdays today. All right, I got 4 for you today.
Okay.
Why were you smiling?
No, I mixed up. I was going to say you mean the fake Cleveland fan, but that was Paisley.
That's Brad Paisley. Brad Paisley, I will maintain, is a fake Cleveland fan. Tim McGraw, I don't know who he's a fan of. Is he still married to Faith Hill?
No
Is that
idea.
a thing? Is that a thing? I don't know. All right. Who's married to Nicole Kidman? Is that Tim McGraw?
Dude, I don't know.
No, he's married to Faith Hill. Who's married to Nicole Kidman? He's Urban. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's how that goes. All right. 4 free today. 3 movies and a television show. So we start. First 2 are kind of like fringe. I don't know. We'll see. This day, 2015. Superhero team-up movie, and they fight a robot.
Age of Ultron?
That is correct. One of my favorite Avengers
I
movies.
have said this for years. The most underrated MCU film.
I would agree with that. You got the introduction of the Flash and Scarlet Witch.
I think it has the hardest line. People talk about Thanos' lines.
Yeah.
How, I'm inevitable.
Yeah.
He has the most sick lines.
Yeah.
Dopest line in the MCU is the end of that movie when Ultron is talking to Vision, and he calls Vision. He says, "You're so naive." And then Vision responds with, "Well, I was born yesterday."
You got Vision?
Dude, come on.
I think the plot of that one.
It was so sick.
You got Claw. You got Andy Serkis in there as Claw. Ultron. I would agree. You and I are on the same page. Spader killed it.
Dude.
Just killed it as Ultron.
Yeah, he did.
Had to kill the other guy.
He did.
Had to cut my way out. So I'm with you. I love Age of Ultron. It's a good one. All right, this one's a little off. This day, 2009. Another superhero movie. Not Avengers. But this character all of a sudden now has ties to the Avengers because he is in a new movie that's coming out in just a couple of months. Wolverine.
X-Men.
Origins. Not bad. You got your first Deadpool.
Yeah.
Get right.
Weird.
Yeah. Not great. Not great. I was happy you got Gambit. I've been waiting every single year
I like
for
Lee
Gambit.
Shriver as
Sabretooth was good. He was really good. Yeah, he was better than the other guy. Tyler me. But you got your Gambit. That's all I kind of asked for. But you got the other guys, the Blob, and who did Will.i.am play? John, the teleporting guy. But anyway, not bad. Not bad. I thought it was all right. X-Men Origins this day, 2009. All right, these next 2 I really think you should get. Debuted this a 1999 television show. And Ryan, I will actually never forget the Saturday morning that I got home from PSR and turned on this TV show that has spawned millions of dollars, one of the biggest animated franchises of all time. And it started with a little short called The Reef Blower.
It was an animated show, you said. The Reef Blower.
The Reef Blower was an animated short in this one. Also, the first episode featured the main character going to get his job.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I thought. SpongeBob?
SpongeBob is correct.
Okay.
I swear to God, I never forget that day. That's how old I am, but I remember watching SpongeBob. It was the episode that he meets the 2, because you know how they do like 2 in a show or whatever?
Yeah.
It was him getting the job at the Krusty Krab.
Yeah, with all the neotodes.
Yeah.
Or what are they called? Neotodes?
Neotodes, I think.
Something like
I know what
that.
you're talking about, yeah.
With that spatula.
Yeah. The song.
And then
of course.
was it the pizza one?
No, he meets Sandy.
Oh, okay.
He meets Sandy because the water. Remember, he's in there and he's like, I need it.
That was one of the first ones.
I think that was the first episode. Because then in between was the reef blower.
I don't need it.
I don't need it. First SpongeBob episode. Yep. SpongeBob applies for the job of the Krusty Krab. Then in between, it was silent, but it was the reef blower, and he blows all the stuff onto Squidward. And then he finally meets Sandy Cheeks for the first time. Because also he I'm ready. But everybody thought that'd be a big part of SpongeBob. They kind of abandoned it, but he runs out like, I'm ready. And then he gets the job of the Krusty Krab. That's right, the very first one. This day, 1909. All right, we wrap it up. We go all the way back to 1941. A film that is regarded as one of the greatest films ever made.
Citizen Kane?
That is correct. Killed it today, Ryan. Weren't so good on the grid today, but man, you killed it on
Rosebud, right?
Rosebud is correct. Orson Welles. Good flick. Long.
I mean, I've never
long.
seen it.
I had to watch. I was a film studies minor, Ryan, in college. So. Yes. Do you know what mise en sens is?
Mise en sens? No.
Yes. It's when you still frame a shot, and it's the breakdown of what is in the shot.
Mise en sens.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And then also, whenever we watch a movie, the screen is always divided into thirds. So third, and then that's how you frame the shot. And Orson Welles, he did weird camera angles. The thing about Orson Welles was he did a War of the Worlds on the radio. People thought we were actually getting invaded by aliens.
Bruh.
Could you imagine that? Like, how cool that must have been to sit down and just listen to listen to the radio, radio shorts and things like that. And he did it, and people thought we were actually getting invaded by aliens.
Well, speaking of short, Jose Altuve plays us tonight, and we have a little booth.
Screw you guys! Man, do I hate the Astros. God, do I hate the Astros. Get it tonight. Little McKenzie, little Naylor.
Well, we had to switch it up a little bit.
Oh, we did?
There were some issues with the prop. So,
well, tell me what
it's the same thing mostly, but we're doing Jose Ramirez, 2 bases.
Okay, not Naylor. Naylor. We're still on McKenzie strikeouts, though?
McKenzie over 5.5 strikeouts.
All right.
Jose Ramirez over 1.5 total bases.
That's a double, baby.
And Guardians plus 1.5.
All right, let's get it done.
That's
Come on.
boosted up to plus 698.
Whoa! All right, can I let everybody behind the curtain? I have been ice colder than my iced coffee this morning, Ryan. These are the ones, though, that set us up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I run a lot of parlays, buddy. And I'm just going to call it for what it is. I need this one to hit. We need this one to hit bad. So, boosts. Here we are. And I will be putting a 10 spot on this. $79. Buddy, I need it.
I do, too.
I need it bad in my Tipico account. Right there. Fontana 150 gets signed up for all you new customers out there. You deposit $150, you will get 2 $75 protected bets, a total of $150 in protected bets when you deposit $150 for new customers with code Fontana150. Terms and conditions apply. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check out the cashback parlays and the boost for tonight. You want to run through the NBA games very quickly for tonight? I forgot about that. All right, so we start Tipico Sports, basketball. Dude, the interface is just so easy. I love it. 13.5. Boston, Miami. And 3.5 Mavericks, Clippers. All right, quickly. Heat, Celtics. Heat coming in just 2-4 against the spread. Their last 6 games against Boston, 1-6 straight up in their last 7. Miami is 6-2 against the spread, though. Their last 8 games on the road against Boston. For the Celtics, 4-1-1 against the spread. Their last 6, 16-2 straight up in their last 18 games at home. That's too big, buddy. I got to take the Heat plus the points. I got to take them.
Sounds good to me.
All right, Mavericks, Clippers. This game's going to be a lot of fun. Mavericks are a 3.5-point road favorite. Dallas, 12-5 against the spread their last 17 games, but they're only 4-8 against the spread their last 12 games against the Clippers, only 2-4 straight up in their last 6 games against the Clippers. I think I'm going to roll LA, but the thing is, the Clips are only 2-5 against the spread their last 7 games, 2-5 straight up. The Clippers are only 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games at home. Clippers. I'm going to take 2 dogs, man. I'm going to take the Clippers. I might take the Clippers outright plus 135. Heat plus 13.5. I'm going to put $5 on that. All right, I'm in. Bet with Tipico. Use that code Fontana150 when you get signed up. All right, Wednesday here on Big Play, we will have Bruce Drennan later today with a little bit of bonus time. You're going to talk. You got horse racing lined up with Bruce? Do you know
I think he wants
to do a little bit. Bruce is all into that, so he'll join a little bit later as well on Big Play. We had Josh Murray Cribbs last night, Enter the Jungle, James Rapine and crew. We got it all for you on Big Play. Low night tonight for us. Just get the Guardians done, watch a little bit of NBA basketball, and be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the same time, same channel, gearing up for Friday with more of the Cavs. Appreciate everybody joining us. Been a great week for us. Off to a slow start on Monday, but we're back. Appreciate everybody joining us as always. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. What have I mentioned? Oh, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. Matt Fontana Show. That's where you need to follow us across all those platforms. We'll talk to you tomorrow. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.